Look at the person next to you, even if it's only in your mind for this moment, and say, something incredible is about to happen, because right now, right this second, you are standing on the edge of a decision that could change everything. There comes a moment in every life, at least one, and often several, where everything changes, not gradually, not with slow inches, but with the thunderous impact of a single decision. That moment isn't circumstantial. It isn't dependent on external validation, timing, or luck. It is a turning point, a crack in your life where the trajectory shifts so dramatically that who you become on the other side is almost unrecognizable to who you were before. Most people go through life expecting change to come from outside, a new job, a promotion, a guru, a miracle. But the truth is this: the power of a turning point lives inside you, behind a choice so powerful that it forces the world to rearrange itself around it. A turning point isn't just something that happens to you, it's something you create. And once you step into it, you step into a new version of your own destiny. Let's be honest, before a turning point, life feels heavy, confusing, and often unjust. That's because you're operating with old beliefs, outdated strategies, and a fear of stepping out of the familiar. You wear the same internal scripts that you've carried for years, scripts about who you think you are, what you think you deserve, and what you think is possible. But right before the turning point, you begin to feel a shift. It doesn't usually announce itself with fireworks or fanfare. It whispers first, a quiet dissatisfaction, a feeling that something inside you won't let you settle for good enough anymore. And then you realize you can no longer live with the version of yourself that played small, avoided risk, and defended comfort over growth. That realization, that inner refusal to accept anything less than your potential, is the power behind a true turning point. A turning point is not an event, it's a decision to stop justifying why things are the way they are, a decision to stop blaming circumstances, people, the economy, your past. All of those can be contributors to struggle, but they are not the architects of your future unless you choose them. When you decide not hope, not dream, but decide that you are done with fear controlling you, something monumental happens. Your internal world changes, and as a result, your external world follows. You begin to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You begin to do today what others are only planning for tomorrow. You become uncomfortable with mediocrity and comfortable with growth. You recognize that discomfort is not your enemy. It is the signpost that you are expanding beyond old limitations. Most never reach this point because it requires courage, not just the fleeting courage of spontaneous emotion, but the deep, steady courage of commitment. At the core of every turning point is a belief shift. Before, you believed life was happening to you. After, you understand that life is responding to your choices. This shift is profound. It changes how you show up every single day. It reshapes your identity. You begin to see yourself not as a product of your circumstances, but as the captain of your own journey. And here's the fascinating thing. The power of the turning point does not come from the decision alone. It comes from the actions that follow. A decision without action is just a wish. Your turning point forces you to act. It demands consistency. It requires you to show up again and again, even when it feels hard, even when the old voices of doubt whisper that you should quit. Every action you take reinforces your new identity. Every step forward dismantles old limitations and builds new capacity. Look at people who have transformed their lives, those who have risen from obscurity to significance, from struggle to mastery, from doubt to confidence. They all share one thing. At some point, they made a decision that changed everything. Not because it was easy, but because it was necessary. They chose growth over comfort, commitment over excuses, courage over fear. And in doing so, they unlocked something that already existed inside them, potential waiting to be unleashed. The power of your turning point is not something you stumble into. It is something you commit to with relentless determination. It is the moment you decide that your life will no longer be defined by what has happened to you, but by what you choose to create from this moment forward. When you make that decision, the world begins to respond. Doors open, people show up, opportunities reveal themselves, but most importantly, you show up fully, courageously, with intention and clarity. And that is where transformation truly begins. Your turning point is not ahead of you, It is with you right now. It is waiting inside the decision you are ready to make. The question is not whether you will have a turning point, you already do. The question is, will you choose it? Because once you do, the life that has been calling you will start calling to you. And that, my friend, is the power of a turning point. There's a lie that most people tell themselves: success should feel comfortable, that somehow, if you're on the right path, it should feel smooth, easy, and effortless. But that's not how growth works. Growth is not a gentle breeze, growth is a storm. And if you want something you've never had, you have to be willing to feel the discomfort that comes with becoming someone you've never been. Discomfort is not the enemy. Discomfort is the gateway. It's the signpost that says you're stretching. It's the muscle soreness after a workout. It's not pleasant while it's happening, but it's the evidence of transformation. Most people run from discomfort. They shrink back. They play small. They stay in their comfort zone because it feels safe until their life starts looking exactly like the place they ran from. But let me tell you something. Comfort is a slow killer. It silences dreams. It numbs ambition. It keeps you locked in the same patterns, repeating the same story year after year, wondering why nothing ever changes. The truth is, your comfort zone is not a place of peace, it's a prison. It's a cage made of familiarity and fear, and the only way out is through discomfort. Now, embracing discomfort doesn't mean seeking pain for pain's sake. It means leaning into the challenges that force you to grow. It means recognizing that every great achievement in your life is on the other side of something you once resisted. Think about the moments in your life when you experienced massive growth. Those weren't easy moments. They were the moments that tested you. Maybe it was a failure. Maybe it was a loss. Maybe it was a challenge you weren't sure you could handle, but you endured, and in enduring, you discovered strength you didn't know you had. Discomfort pushes you to expand your capacity. When you're comfortable, you conserve energy, but when you embrace discomfort, you expand energy. You tap into reserves you didn't know existed. You discover abilities that were dormant because they were never called upon. The person you become from stepping into discomfort is not just a little different, they are radically transformed. Everything in life worth having requires discomfort. If you want health, you have to embrace the discomfort of discipline. If you want growth in your relationships, you have to embrace the discomfort of vulnerability. If you want financial abundance, you have to embrace the discomfort of learning new skills and risking criticism. Every leap forward demands discomfort. That's the cost. And if we pretend discomfort isn't part of the process, we cheat ourselves out of the very life we say we want. But here's the beautiful thing: discomfort doesn't last forever. It's intense in the moment, but fleeting in the grand scheme. And on the other side of it lies confidence, resilience, and growth. Every time you step into discomfort and come out the other side, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than resistance, braver than fear, and more capable than your doubts would have you believe. That's how you build momentum. That's how you break through limitations. That's how you create a life that feels alive, not safe. This is why comfort feels so seductive. The brain is wired to protect you from pain, from threats, from challenge. It wants to keep you in the zone where nothing bad happens. But here's the catch: nothing good happens there either. No deeper relationships, no breakthroughs, no mastery, no dreams fulfilled. Nothing changes when everything stays the same. You have to be willing to feel the discomfort of change. You have to risk being misunderstood, risk failing, risk falling short. You have to be willing to walk into rooms where you don't feel like you belong. You have to be willing to take risks that feel scary. Because discomfort is not the roadblock, it's the bridge. It's the path that connects who you are now with who you are capable of becoming. And you know what? After a while, something remarkable happens. You start to rewire your relationship with discomfort. You begin to see it not as something to avoid, but as something to welcome. You begin to understand that if you are not uncomfortable, you are not growing. You begin to crave the challenge, the stretch, the opportunity to test your limits. You begin to feel alive. Discomfort becomes a sign that you're on the right path. It becomes a signal that you're pushing past your old boundaries. It becomes a marker of progress, not pain, and that shift from fearing discomfort to embracing it is where the magic happens. That's where ordinary people become extraordinary. That's where potential becomes reality. That's where dreams transform into achievements. So let me ask you this. Are you willing to feel uncomfortable? Are you willing to risk feeling awkward, unprepared, or unsure? Are you willing to step into situations that challenge you, stretch you, and transform you? Because every great life in history, every story of achievement, mastery, and fulfillment has one common thread. The person at the center was not afraid to embrace discomfort. They leaned into it. They grew through it. They made it their ally, and that right there is where your next breakthrough begins. Embrace discomfort, step into it, and watch how your life expands beyond what you ever thought possible. There is a difference between wishing for a better life and deciding to create it. Most people drift through life hoping that one day circumstances will align, that luck will finally smile, that someone or something will deliver them the breakthrough they've been waiting for. But hoping without deciding is a slow, painful form of stagnation. The decision mindset is the difference between wandering through life and claiming it. It is the difference between being a spectator and being the author of your own story. When you adopt a decision mindset, you understand that your life is not determined by outside forces, by timing, or by other people's approval. It is determined by the decisions you make, the commitments you honor, and the actions you take in alignment with those decisions. A decision mindset begins with clarity. It begins with a willingness to look at your life exactly as it is, without excuses, without justifications, and without sugarcoating. You have to face the truth. The results you have today are the direct outcome of the decisions you've made up to this moment. That might feel harsh. It might feel uncomfortable, but it's liberating because it also means that you are the one with the power to change the results. Once you embrace this mindset, you stop blaming circumstances, people, or the past. You stop waiting for someone to save you. You realize that the steering wheel of your life is in your hands, and you are the one responsible for where it goes. Decisions are not about perfection. They are about commitment. Many people never make bold moves because they fear making the wrong choice. They wait for all the facts, for perfect timing, or for external validation. That is a trap. Life rarely hands us certainty. If you wait for the perfect moment, it will never come. The decision mindset teaches you that you can act decisively, even in uncertainty, and course correct along the way. The key is not to make the perfect decision, it is to make a decisive one and then honor it through consistent action. A decision without action is a dream. A decision with action is the beginning of transformation. Adopting a decision mindset also requires emotional mastery. Every decision brings up fear, doubt, and resistance. Your brain wants to keep you safe, to protect you from failure, from embarrassment, from loss. But a decision mindset trains you to step into discomfort, to act despite fear, and to see fear as a compass pointing you toward growth. You start to understand that fear is not the enemy. It is a signal that you are stepping out of your comfort zone and into your potential. The bigger the decision, the bigger the fear, and the bigger the reward on the other side. When you embrace this, fear stops controlling your actions and instead becomes fuel for your progress. The decision mindset is about ownership. When you decide, you stop playing the victim. You stop saying, life is happening to me, and start saying, I am happening in life. You recognize that circumstances are not permanent dictators. They are conditions you can influence. When setbacks occur, people with a decision mindset see them as feedback, not failure. They ask, what can I do differently, rather than why me? This shift in perspective creates resilience, creativity, and momentum. It turns obstacles into opportunities and challenges into catalysts for growth. Consistency is the engine of the decision mindset. One decision does not transform a life overnight. Decisions are daily, moment-to-moment commitments to show up as the person who can make them real. It is in the repetition, the consistent honoring of your choices, that transformation occurs. You begin to see that every action, no matter how small, compounds. Every choice reinforces your identity, builds your confidence, and shapes your trajectory. Eventually, the decisions you make become who you are, and who you are becomes unstoppable. Finally, a decision mindset is liberating because it creates freedom. When you understand that your life is the sum of your decisions, you reclaim control. You stop living at the mercy of external forces. You no longer need permission to pursue your dreams. You recognize that the power was in your hands all along. Every day becomes an opportunity to decide. and every decision becomes a stepping stone toward the life you desire. The decision mindset is not just a tool, it is a lifestyle. It is the practice of taking ownership, embracing responsibility, acting decisively, and committing relentlessly. It is the mindset of people who rise above mediocrity, who refuse to settle, and who create lives of impact and fulfillment. When you cultivate this mindset, you stop waiting for miracles. You become the miracle. You stop hoping for transformation, you become the transformation, and that is the power of the decision mind. Set a power that can change not only your life, but the trajectory of everything you touch. If you want something you've never had, you have to become someone you've never been. And I don't mean that in some abstract motivational sense, I mean it in the very real, practical sense that the person who achieved what you have today will never achieve what you want tomorrow. Your next level, the life, the career, the relationship, the health, the wealth, the impact you're craving, it's not waiting for you to figure out a shortcut. It's waiting for you to become the person who is capable of reaching it. Every time we try to get new results with old thinking, old habits, and old actions, we end up frustrated, stuck, and disillusioned. The truth is that your results are a reflection of who you are being right now. So if your results aren't enough, if your life feels smaller than your potential, if your performance is plateauing, it's not the world that needs to change, it's you. Growth is uncomfortable. Advancement is rarely convenient. And transformation is almost never painless. But here's the key. The person who thrives at the next level isn't the person who wishes or hopes for change. It's the person who decides to become a new version of themselves and then commits to the consistent actions required to live that version every day. It starts with a choice to stop blaming circumstances, to stop waiting for the perfect opportunity, to stop hoping that someone or something outside of you will rescue your future. That choice says, I am willing to do what it takes, even when it's uncomfortable, inconvenient, or uncertain, to become the person I need to be to achieve what I want. And once that choice is made, the universe begins to respond, because you are finally showing up differently, not just in action, but in identity. Your current habits, your current beliefs, your current skills, they all got you to where you are today. And for some of you, that place is great, but for others, it's not enough. If you want to climb higher, you have to change the architecture of who you are. That means expanding your mindset, upgrading your strategies, and stepping into new behaviors that feel foreign at first. Every skill, every relationship, every opportunity you desire requires a version of you who is capable of holding it, nurturing it, and sustaining it. You can't simply show up with yesterday's self and expect tomorrow's results. The rules of life are relentless. New results require a new you. Transformation begins with awareness. You have to get brutally honest with yourself about where you are, where you're falling short, and what internal barriers are holding you back. Fear, limiting beliefs, excuses, comfort, these are not just obstacles. They are signals that you're being called to evolve. And here's the beautiful thing. Once you step into that discomfort, once you face those internal truths, growth becomes inevitable. The pain of staying the same is heavier than the discomfort of change. The choice to evolve becomes easier when you realize that stagnation is a far greater risk than challenge, struggle, or failure. Next, it requires commitment. The person who achieves the next level does not rely on fleeting motivation. They rely on rituals, disciplines, and daily practices that reinforce the new identity. They understand that transformation is not a single event, it is a process. Every choice you make, every action you take, reinforces either the old you or the new you. And every time you honor the new version of yourself, even in small ways, you strengthen the identity capable of achieving your next level. Habits become the scaffolding of who you are becoming. Decisions shape your destiny. Consistency builds momentum. And momentum creates breakthroughs that feel effortless only after the hard work has been done. Another critical aspect is courage. The new you will scare the old you. You will encounter resistance, doubt, and fear. People around you may resist your growth, intentionally or unintentionally, because your evolution challenges their comfort zone too. But the person who reaches the next level does not negotiate with fear. They step into it over and over, learning to manage it, use it, and ultimately rise above it. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is mastery over fear and the willingness to act despite it. Finally, the new you requires vision. You must see who you are becoming and act as if that person already exists. Imagine the habits, the energy, the mindset, the relationships, the work ethic of that person. Align yourself with that vision daily. Every choice you make must be congruent with that identity, and over time, the alignment of identity, belief, and action produces extraordinary results. Your next level is not out there. It's in here, in the choices you make, in the habits you build, in the person you decide to become. The life you desire cannot meet you while you remain the same. To rise, to evolve, to achieve, you must step into a new version of yourself. And the moment you commit to that transformation, the universe will meet you there, because the person you are becoming is finally capable of receiving it. So here's the truth. Your next level won't come to the person you are today. It comes to the person you choose to become. Decide, commit, step into the discomfort, build the habits, shift your mindset, become the version of yourself that can achieve what you desire. And when you do, not only will your life transform, but everything and everyone around you will rise with you.